Hey everybody, Boxingboa back again. I want to talk about a few things today. I got Storm here. She just shed out the other day. And as you can see, she's the red line. She's a striped line albino with reduced pattern from Ed Lilly. Very cool gene I'm working with when it comes to this albino carpet pythons I'm working with. All of my hit albino stuff and all of my albinos come from Ed Lilly, which many of you know. These rival the red line albinos that you see out there. There's some proving out to do that Ed's doing and I'm going to be working with, and that I'm doing to prove out this type of albino. And I don't mean like I would compare it to like what I would say what a red line is and what me and Ed are working with. Ed originally and now me more. And what Star Pythons is doing with the red line is kind of like in the albinos and boas, where you have, you know, albinos and then you have coral albinos, and that's kind of what we're discovering here with the stripe line we're working with. Just produces phenomenal offspring, phenomenal babies, and that's why when I went looking for albino stuff, you know, it took me a while. I had to find the right type of albinos I wanted, you know, what lines I wanted to work with. So when it wasn't just here's an albino, because an albino is not an albino. The nice thing about this working with his stripe line is, and I've talked about a few times, is I'm working with a stripe line, which is awesome. This girl has some great striping on her, and that's 100% genetic. Then I'm also working with what he's calling a reduced pattern type thing on certain ones, and then I'm also working with this what I would call like a coral type strain. And so it's like the red line and the stars. These guys hold their color for much longer. Their whites are much wider. As they continue to grow, their yellows get very, very neon. And the cool thing about these guys is they hold their pinks in their faces for a lot longer. I don't know how well that's going to show up in the video here. I can try and get a little bit closer for you. But definitely still holding on to a lot of the pinks in her head and her face, and throughout her body she has sprinkled pinks in her. And so that's a little bit of why I went with his line, but that's not really what I'm here talking about. I'm going to get into that in a different video, because that requires a lot more thought in my brain on what I'm doing, what I'm working with in the process, and how I'm going about doing what I'm doing. Priest, you want to hand me that over there? He's going to get it for me right now. Now this girl, this is Thailand. Keep this on hand. Whether you have a respiratory infection or not, keep this. I know boas can get respiratory infections, but it's not as common as it is in carpet pythons and pythons in general. Pythons in general tend to get respiratory infections far easier than boas. So keep this in hand. If you don't have this, go to Farm Fleet. I got mine at Tractor Supply. It's 50 bucks. You know, I keep this on hand. I pay attention to expiration date. Expires February 2018. Guess what? Before the end of this year, I will be buying a new one of these. I keep this on hand whether I use or I don't. Always keep this on hand. It's so important. Why do I bring this up? Well, because she had an intestinal infection, and so like right around in here, she got real red, real swollen. The vet thought it might have been a tumor, cancer. He didn't know what it was. They did x-rays, they did all those types of things, but ended up being just an infection. So after talking with the vet and her seeing the vet, I said, hey, I got Thailand at home. He's like, great, use that. So that's what I did, and guess what? It cleared her infection up. She did have a slight respiratory infection, and that Thailand took care of that right away. Now, there are problems that can occur when, you know, you're using antibiotics in anything. And what happened with her, and I'll bring it up here, you can see the scar. She's got a scar right here now, okay? And this is she's only had 2 sheds since she had the scar. So that tells you how well it's starting to heal up, and it'll only continue to get better. It'll always probably be white like that right there. But it didn't mess up her stripes or anything like that. But that is a burn. How did that happen? Most people won't talk about this. Most people won't share that with you, or they will, but they kind of hide it. Well, I went to give her an injection. If you notice, I didn't go in the spine. I went into the meat, and I pushed down. Well, what happened was Priest was helping me and he was holding her. She moved forward, obviously. But then it went in, but we got her controlled and I got in there, and then as I was actually injecting it, she kind of lunged forward, because you don't want to hold a snake too tightly. So he was just holding her nice and comfortably where she jerked forward. And so the medicine went underneath the skin, just underneath the scale rather than down into the muscle. And so you get that. That happens. That's a risk you take in treating animals. But it's a worthwhile risk, because it's better to do that and save the animal. She recovered from her stomach infection and the slight respiratory infection she had, and I've had a couple snakes with respiratory infections that I've treated with that, and it works good. None of them have scars. She's the only one to get them. It's just one of them things that happen. So when you do an injection, you should at least have 1 or 2 people there with you to help control the snake as you do it. I'm not going to tell you how to dose your snake, because there's enough articles online for that, but not only that, I don't want you overdosing or underdosing your snake. You need to get this, weigh your snake, read the directions on how much they get per weight, you know, and that's a much safer way to do it than just to me give you, well, this I give her 1 milligram or 2 milligrams or 2 mLs. It's just not a safe way to do it. You know, you need to do it. Now I know some people are against injections, but I look at it like this, you know. Some people are just against antibiotics on that and they want to treat holistically. Well, it's like this, you know, there's people that believe cutting rhino horns off to give them sexual power, you know, and health and vigorance, you know, that, yeah. If there's medicine out there for you to treat your animal, do it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to cut down somebody that wants to go with that holistical rhino power penis strength. But it's not for me. I'd rather give my snake something that I know is going to work. And that includes giving it F10 and nebulizers and stuff like that. Now, you don't always have to resort to injections. But, you know, it's best to do it right away before it gets bad. So you need to always pay attention to your snake. Warning signs. I'm not talking about when it starts blowing bubbles out of its nose. I'm not talking about when you start seeing crust on its mouth. Every day you need to get your snakes out. You need to check your snakes. You know, when it rubs on your, and I'm gonna hold his head a little bit. When it does that, is it leaving moisture on his mouth? Is it kind of wheezing a little bit more than normal? When I go like that, and you see she's like, hey, am I getting moisture to come out of her mouth? Also, you got to think. Don't just freak out and think she's got RI if there is, because what if she was just getting a drink of water? That'll also cause that to happen. But if you do notice that, pay attention to her. Come back to her in 2 or 3 hours. Excuse me, and check. And if you start noticing to where she's kind of have labored breathing, or she's kind of blowing out more and more air where it's like a wheezy, raspy sound, start on the antibiotics. Start on Tylenol. This works. This will cure almost anything you caught. Far better, and it's a lot easier on their kidneys and livers and things like that affect, you know, anybody, including us, when we take medicine. It's a very good product. But I understand there's people that want to get into the whole rhino penis strength thing. I get it. And I keep saying that because I've seen so many people contacting me saying, well, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. No. If your animal is sick, you need to take care of it. Don't sit there and post it online. What's wrong with my snake? What happened to my snake? Say, hey, guess what? Here's a way you can do that. Hey, I called my vet. I got an appointment for my vet. While I'm waiting to take my snake to the vet, what do you think's going on as I'm waiting? But don't ask, do you think my animal needs to go to the vet? Because the minute you're asking, do you think my animal needs to go to the vet, you've already wasted valuable time. Because if you are wondering if it needs to go to the vet, that means it needs to go to the vet. You know, and so if you think it needs to go, take it to the vet. And if you're not comfortable with giving injections and doing things like that, then have your local vet do it. And I know, I hear this all the time. Well, I ain't got a good reptile veterinarian. Okay, this man or woman went to medical school to treat animals. Whether or not they are a specialist in exotics doesn't matter. It's always better to have an exotic vet, but let's be honest, most aren't qualified that way. Well, and what I mean by qualified, they don't have basic knowledge like you and I have. But what they do have knowledge on that you and I don't have is antibiotics, dosages, you know, different antibiotics, different treatments. You know, why they might not say, this might be the first snake they've ever seen. They can get in the medical journals, they can contact other veterinarians and find out what, you know, hey, what do you give this snake? What is it? What's the best treatment for this? And also, you can also help educate your vet. You know, say, hey, look, I've looked up this medicine, I've heard about this medicine, and then that vet can go to his resources and tell you if that medicine is going to be right for that animal or not. But the most important thing is you get that animal a vet. Now, I keep that on hand because I know RIs, and I also have a good relationship with my doctor. Dr. Bleem is who my veterinary doctor is. He's also the zoo doctor for the local zoo here in my town, and so he's pretty well used to exotics. But when I first started bringing snakes for him, he had no clue. I mean, he got better with it. He also goes up to, he lives in up by Champaign. He went to school at the University of Illinois. He has friends up there. He goes up there to where I can get biopsies and things like that done much faster, to where he's really a good vet. But when I first started bringing snakes for him, he never really handled snakes. He was used to working with tigers and wolves and dogs and cats and stuff. But so I started helping him, and through that I've been able to help the local zoo here in town with their care for animals and stuff like that. They even have one of my Brazilian short-tailed possums they did for a while until it passed away of old age. But you know, that's the important thing is, what I'm saying is, you know, get this type of medicine, learn how to use it, pay attention to your snake, and if you're not sure, get your snake to a vet. It's not worth posting online. It's just not. Get it to a vet and get some help for it. Now, if you're wondering about mites or something like that, okay, or if your snake is doing something funny that you're not used to seeing, that's the type of question I'd post on Facebook. But I see too many wannabe veterinarians post stuff on Facebook to answer people questions that are just terrible ideas. Now, when I talk about some of the holistic things that you can do, and where I'm not against holistic stuff, I take my vitamins and stuff like that, but like some of the things you can do before injections is obviously increase the heat, you know, try to get rid of the humidity, you know, really dry the snake out, make sure there's vines for it to climb in, because the snake can't cough or sneeze, so it needs something to hang its head down on so it can help drain this mucus out of its mouth. But don't just count on that as being the only thing to work, because if it gets to be bad and you just think this holistic rhino stuff is going to work, you're going to lose your snake. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with people that are into holistic stuff. It's just, when you're dealing with animals and stuff like that, it's like if you have a kid. You know, your kid breaks its leg, you're not going to sit there and say, well, I'm going to throw a splint on that and here's a walking stick. No. You're going to take your kid to the vet, you're going to get it fixed. Same thing with your animals. No different. Don't be one of them people. You know, do the right thing, take time and care. And I'm not trying to bitch at you guys or stuff like that, or make anybody that doesn't do this type of stuff feel bad. I get so many questions on that, and I don't mind those types of questions. I actually cherish those because it helps me learn, it makes me do research, but at the end of the day, it's just common sense. It's about taking care of your animal the best way possible. So one little tip is, get this stuff, learn how to use it, learn how to give injection to your snakes. You'll be better off. Yes, can something like that happen? Yes, but I've given plenty of snakes injections, and this is probably only the second time this has ever happened to me. Another thing I hear people just always complain about is they use pest strips to treat mites, and that, I mean, really? That it's not even safe for humans to breathe, let alone a snake that has one big lung and one tiny lung. Use Frontline. It is safe and effective, and it works. Go to SBK Reptiles on YouTube. He has an awesome video on how to do it, how to use it. You can contact Stephen Katz, and he will tell you step by step, and he will work you through the process of getting there. So that's another thing. Get away from them pest strips. Get away from all them chemicals like that treat mites. They're deadly to you, so that means they're even more deadly to your snake. Use Frontline. On a happier note, well, not even on a happier note, on a different note, one guy I want to give a shout out to. I've been trying to do shout outs, you know, one or two a video, and I'm going to pull his up right now. His name is Jim Ellis, Godfather Exotics. I'm actually going to, Priest, is that in frame there? Yeah. Alright, that guy right here, Jim Ellis, go to his YouTube. He's an awesome guy, puts up a lot of ball python content. Even if you're not into ball pythons, you can still learn from watching ball python videos. As you guys know, I'm wearing a Balls U t-shirt. Awesome guy, go check him out. He's got 79 subscribers right now, but he is growing. He's got some awesome stuff. He's breeding some clown stuff. He just had an awesome litter with just tiny little ball python, but she is absolutely stunning. So go check him out there. Another thing I can do, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll go to my Instagram account now. All you gotta do is look up Boxingboa, and you will see me on there. And here's this is what my profile looks like. You'll see me, like, here goes, I entered a ball python contest, if you believe it. Look at that. What? So hopefully somebody will win that. You know, there's me after I got done doing shoulders and traps that day. But you'll see just different stuff. You know, like I post, like where I posted videos, I let people know. That was me after I got done working out. You know, I do all sorts of stuff. My blood pythons, I posted a video on that, just on Instagram about them, so you can find me on Instagram that way. I'm going to keep talking here because I want to go to this guy's thingy. That's not it. Where's he at? Alright, here's Jim Ellis's Instagram account. Go to that guy. The guy is a super nice guy, real family man. He posts all the time. The cool thing about Jim is not only does he do snakes, but he's really into his kids and everything like that, and family life. But the dude is a beast. Dude's tore his hamstrings, got bad bruises, and trust me, I know what that's like. I've got 7 tears in my right hamstring, 8 tears in my left. Dude tore his hamstring like a beast. Within a week, he was right back at the gym, getting it in, putting it in where he could. Now, it wasn't necessarily, he's not going all out, but he is working around his injury, you know, and that's someone that I'd like to watch. I'd like to emulate, because that's someone that has a no-quit attitude, a never-say-die attitude, and I love people like that. So this is Storm, absolute gorgeous albino. She's got a lot of stuff going on for her. I can't wait to get her up to size of breed. I got other stuff that is going to be able to breed that's in her gene pool, but she won't be ready to breed for probably, I'd say, another 2 years. She's just such a beautiful girl. So anyway, this is Boxingboa. Please like, click, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. If you have any questions or comments, just please leave them down below. You know I'll get back to you. And if you need any help on anything or have anything, reach out to me on my Instagram, on my YouTube. You can also find me on Facebook under JBoa. That's my Facebook page. You can find me on there, and you can send me a message if you have any questions or comments, and I'll definitely be glad to answer them to the best of my ability. And if I don't know the answers, I will definitely point you in the right direction to find the answers, and then that'll also help me find the answers. One little update: the eggs are 2 weeks away from being at the day 50. I think that'll be day 53 in 2 weeks. Yeah, today's Monday, so in 2 weeks they'll be at day 53. So hopefully within, you know, between 52 and 54 days they start pipping. Sometimes it might go longer. I do think I will end up cutting the eggs just a little bit to help them get out, because they are not wild animals. I know some people are against it, some people are for it, but it's not a wild animal anymore. It's a captive bred animal, and I want to give them the best possible chance they can get. Obviously I won't be pulling them out of the egg, but I will cut them, and then they'll come out themselves. So that's what I'll be doing with those guys as soon as I start seeing one of them pip. So anyway, this is Boxingboa. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a good day. Peace.